Hello and welcome back to another video on our Power BI Monthly Digest. My name is Manuel Quintana.
And I'm Devin Knight. And in today's Monthly Digest video, we're actually going to be looking at a rather short update. So some people might actually be looking forward to that because Power BI changes so much that it's a little relief that there's not a constant flux that's so significant, right?
And with this one, pretty much everything you're going to be able to incorporate because it's a little a smaller package, but still some good impact. There's some good impact there.
Yeah, there's some things that... Frankly, I'm shocked that haven't been there always. With one particular feature that you'll see towards the end, and I'm like, why hasn't this always been there? Like, this is nonsense that wasn't there before.
But it's there now.
It's there now.
They do good. They listen.
Yep.
But yeah, we have quite a few things, and we'll start actually with, I'm going to say blast from the past, but it's only from our last video.
Last month, yep.
We did one, it was around the column stroke width. Right. It was in relation to the combo chart.
That kind of gave us, if you remember, that kind of gave us like a whole other chart that we wouldn't have had before. We could do a dot plot on top of a column chart.
It was effectively like eliminating the line because sometimes it doesn't really show a trend. We just want to compare two measures.
Right. So what's different about it now?
So now they've kind of gone, and the whole purpose, was a little more transparency, cleaning that chart up a little bit, and they've allowed us to go a little bit further and make things a little more explicit.
Okay.
So the idea is comparing two measures. Well, now we can actually go ahead and individually customize and format those two measures separately.
So like the data labels that they have, you can customize and say, I want this one to be this color, I want this one to be this color, which makes sense because oftentimes those data labels get so close to each other or they cross paths, so it can be a little confusing. So yeah, that's great.
It'll look like they're both sitting right in the column. Well, which one is applied to the dot or the column? How so? This will eliminate any questions, any concerns.
Nice. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into our first demo and take a look at how this one works. All right, so in this demonstration, we actually are looking at our demonstration from last month. This is the same exact report we worked on if you looked at our monthly digest video from last month. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at this combo chart that we have that was actually a line chart, like you said, where we've changed the stroke width of the line to make it basically invisible. Not basically, it is.
And then we added the markings. We chose to go with the square markings and made them red, to stand out.
But as you can see, there's a few things that might be a little confusing if you're looking at this chart. There's a couple scenarios here. You can see this one here. So if you look at the first column we have, in the middle of the column we have this 8.68 number, which is related to the average profit, I believe. And then we have up top here the total profit being 3.8 million. And it could be potentially a little confusing on which label is related to which visual. You might guess this one has to do with the square because it's right next to it. But then you got other scenarios like this. You got the one in the middle here for Southwest where you got 8.5 for your average profit and then the total profit being 1.62. So it can get a little confusing. This isn't too bad, but you're going to have some scenarios that are much worse than this. So for this scenario, what I'd like to do is I'm going to select the chart. We're going to go underneath the format settings of the chart, and we're going to go underneath the data labels section. And from the data labels section, you're going to see there's a new section here where you can actually customize the series that you have. So if you have more than one series, I can now turn on this customize series feature, and I can choose which series do I want to configure. So I can configure either profit or average profit per unit, and then determine how do I want to format each. So say, for example, average profit per unit, I want to show up in red because it's already using a red square. I can select average profit per unit here. I can change things like the formatting if I wanted to, the text color, text family, the text size, or the text color. Let's just change the color for this example. So I'm going to make it into more of a red text here that's very easy to see. You can also, though, go back over to the regular profit measure that we have, and I can customize this one as well. So right now this is using more of a black text. I could change it from that black text to maybe something more of a blue that stands out a little bit more as well. So that way I can really clearly see the difference between the two different measures we have. So pretty simple little feature, but
absolutely.
That's it. So you can go underneath the customize series section that's visible right here. And you can always turn it off or turn it back on if you wanted to, and interact with it and change how the series are viewed. And if you never need to revert back to where you were, of course, you can go back to the revert to default to get back there.
Absolutely. Just another way to make this chart just stand out a little bit more because we have a lot of different measures. There's two measures. Right. They could overlap each other. This eliminates any confusion.
Yeah, so the next one that we're going to look at here today is around one of my, frankly, least favorite charts. And for the data visualization experts, or at least fanatics out there, you're probably not a big fan of pie charts or donut charts. There's a lot of reasons why. We don't need to get into it on this video because I would make this go for an hour and a half. But the next thing that we're going to look at is some changes that have been made to the donut chart, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a visual that's been there forever.
Yep.
And as you guys, there are specific use cases for this. So now we have a little bit of versatility. Something that's going to be specific to the donut chart, and then something that we'll see there that's also part of the pie.
Right.
So the first, of course, and the idea, when you think pie versus donut, that donut gives you that open area in the center.
Yep.
So maybe if you want to put, some image, some sort of label in there, you can add some text.
Sure.
It gave you a little extra flavor. Well, we can do some interesting things now with the outline. Basically, the part that illustrates the value that we're portraying.
Okay.
We can basically control the thickness.
The tasty part of the
yes,
donut.
the part that you bite right in. Well, you can, if you want to make that piece of it a little bit bigger, you can. Or you can make it a little bit thinner if you'd like.
Gotcha. So you can kind of adjust the shape size there and adjust that. While we're going to jump into this one, let's go ahead and talk about the next thing that changed with the donut chart as well. So what's the next one?
So it's going to be with the category, like the labeling that we have. We had a lot of choices. Do we just want to show the category? Right. Do we also want to show the data? You could show both.
Right.
But one thing that we were missing was positioning. So now we can actually have, and this is definitely going to be, and you'll see in the example here, it really relates to the scaling of that visual.
Yeah.
But you can have those labels be inside of the actual donut now.
Okay.
This really lends itself more to if you decide to make the tasty bit a bit thicker.
Yeah.
The thinner, it's really not going to work there,
right.
but you'll see that you can expand it. It makes space usage a little bit better.
Okay.
And you can set some preferences. So some be outside, some be inside. So label positioning now is also an option. And this is for donut and for pie.
The pie chart can also do the labels inside.
Correct.
Okay. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and check it out.
Yeah.
All right, so back in our demonstration here, we're going to go ahead and bring in, again, not my favorite, but we're going to go ahead and bring in a donut chart for this example because that's what the update is on. And I'm not going to make it too large to begin with because there's some changes that will occur when we make it larger. It actually does some scaling based on the size of the donut chart. And in this donut chart, I'm going to go ahead and bring in the region. And we're going to look at it, the region by, let's say, profit. All right, so you can see each of the regions that I have on the donut chart. This actually is a perfect reason why not to have a donut chart. These things are way too close to each other. Anyways, let's go ahead, though, and show some of the new features. So the new feature that we're going to show you first is that you can actually adjust, I like how you mentioned it, the tasty part of the donut.
Yeah.
So you can make this larger or thinner as you wish. And so if I select this visual and go underneath the Format section, we can then go underneath the Shapes section. And from here, you can see there's a setting called Inner Radius that you can actually adjust to make either smaller, or really the donut being larger, that is, or make the radius, the inner part, to be even larger. So you have some ability to kind of adjust this how you desire. Now, the more you make it, the radius, the inner radius, smaller, the more room you then have within inside of the visual itself to be able to display the labels. So this really, the second thing we were going to show, or we are going to show, is not only can you adjust now the inner part, the shape of it, you can also now adjust the labels as well.
Yes.
Now this feature will be found underneath the Detail Labels section. So we'll go ahead and expand Detail Labels. And underneath the Detail Labels section, there is a property on the bottom here called Label Position. Right now it's set to outside, so you're seeing all of the labels appearing on the outside. But we can change this to either prefer outside, prefer inner, or we're going to go ahead and select inner. And you can see in this case, it put all of them, it forced all of them to be on the inside. If you select that you would prefer them to be inner instead, what will happen is some of them will be on the inside and some of them will be on the outside depending on the size of the chart. So the larger, the smaller you make it. And in fact, actually, if you remember, I told you the radius actually impacts this as well. So the larger the radius, the fewer will actually appear within inside of that range. But you can tell it that you want to force them on the inner, force them on the outer, or prefer to be one or the other. So once you do that, you then also have an option right here that's called Overflow Text. And it's turned on by default where it's actually allowing the text to overflow. But if you turn that off, you'll notice that it kind of shifts based on the amount of text that you have and whether or not it can fit into that radius of the chart. So as I resize the chart, you can see that it allows a few more to come in. Or if I were to adjust the shape again, like we were doing a few moments ago, maybe I bring this down a little bit, you can see more or fewer data points are allowed to be shown within inside the donut chart. All right, so that's pretty much it for that one. A pretty simple one, but if you like donut charts, you might like that.
Another option for us to play with, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, so what's next?
So nothing specific to visuals.
Okay.
We kind of just did two there for these visuals. We're actually going to go to something that's been asked for the longest time, right?
Yeah.
This Power BI, basically based off Excel technology.
Right.
But something that we have right in front of us, just one tab away, we didn't have any control. And I'm talking about
filtering and sorting, right? In the data view.
Data view. It was just something that was there. It helped when you created calculated columns, but it didn't do anything else.
Right.
It couldn't do anything. Now we can.
So you're saying in the data, this is a feature that's been around in Excel, of course, but inside of the data view, inside of Power BI, I can actually sort, filter things. Yep. Now, if I do sort or filter, does it impact anything else? Actually,
not at all. Okay. And it's definitely the appropriate behavior. Probably there'll be some requests or ideas to maybe have that go elsewhere. But right now, it's exclusive to the data view.
Which is probably right. I think you're right.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it could be extremely helpful, beneficial. We can look at that. We can see what's going on within a certain thing. And that might help guide us to creating calculated columns or measures. We can see better what we want to look at. And sorting and filtering, absolutely. Yep.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this one. Let's shift back over to our demo. This will be a very quick one, though. All right, so again, I think you're right. It makes sense that this only applies in the data view. We're going to go flip over to the data view, though, because really, if you want to change any sorting or filtering in your reports, you should do it in the report, right? So in our example here, though, we're going to be looking at, it looks like I've already actually done some sorting here. You can see this. But you can sort by simply selecting the little down arrow that would appear next to the column header that you're looking at. And I can tell it I want to sort ascending, descending, or clear out the sort altogether. So that's now there available to you. And you can also do filtering. So if I wanted to filter to a particular region while I'm trying to debug and figure out why something's not working, I can filter to a particular region, select that region, and then I'm able to see exactly how many values I had for that region. I could see this being really helpful, especially if I'm trying to determine, maybe you've got one of those classic duplicate key error problems where you have more than one key and you were going to try and figure out where those values are. This would be really helpful for that.
Absolutely.
Now, again, it's worth repeating one more time. This does not impact the report view. I'm filtered to far east or far west here. If I go back over to the report, you can see I can still see all of the other regions here, so it does not impact that. It's just purely, I would say, for a debug purpose within inside of the data view.
And it's nice, too, because it also has those nice context options. So if it's a text data type, you're going to have filters specifically for text.
Right.
If it is a numeric, you're going to have filters specifically for numeric. Items that we have familiar to us in the query editor, right?
Right.
But now it's readily available to see on the data view, which, it was needed, and we're really happy that it's here now.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's shift to our very last demonstration for today. What's the last one we got?
Yeah, the first one here is going to be something that's more in the lines of like ADA, like accessibility.
Okay.
It's going to be for those to assist with who have visual impairments.
Right.
Something that's been around for a long time. It's actually built right into Windows. It's known as high contrast view, high contrast mode. But up until this release, when you turned high contrast mode on in Windows, the visuals really didn't, I guess I'm going to use the word respect that, or really didn't inherit those properties.
They didn't play nice with it, I guess.
It didn't, yeah. Everything else would, but the visuals wouldn't change. But now they will. If you turn this on, which once again, this is actually a Windows mode. So if you can turn that on, now those effects will be transparent and be made available to you in your Power BI visuals.
Gotcha. So not everybody's going to be doing this, but like you said, it's more of an accessibility thing.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
So let's go check it out. Let's go shift back to our demo. All right, so if you want to learn how to turn high contrast mode on, you probably already know how to do it if you need it. But the way that you do it is you hold down, and from what you told me, it has to be on the left side of my keyboard. Is that right?
Yeah, this is actually the keyboard shortcuts, but if you want, you can search within Windows and just type in high contrast.
Gotcha.
But the quick and fast, because we want to be quick and fast, is on the left side, it's the left Alt key, left Shift, and then print screen. When you hit those three together, we get this prompt right here, and by hitting yes, it'll actually go through this please wait. It's basically converting everything. And once again, this is a Windows element. So yes, we're looking at Power BI and the effect it's had, making things a little bit easier on the eyes, as we can see. It really is meant to make the text stand out more, right? So where shading might be problems, might be causing issues, now there's no confusion. That's what it's meant for right there. It's meant to really give that idea. But once again, this is Windows. So even when we leave Power BI, everything else is in high contrast mode as well. So definitely
a lot easier on the eyes. So not for everybody, but I can see it has some good uses for it there. Great. All right. So I think that's all we have for today, right? So a short little video here of some small updates, but some good ones.
Yeah.
We're interested in what you guys think. So if you can, go ahead and comment below. Let us know what are your most interesting features to you. What were some of the things that you're looking forward to, hopefully in the future? You can always, of course, submit at the idea forum at the Power BI site of things you really want to see. But that's it for today. You want to sign us off?
Absolutely. I always like to say, too, if you ever see anything that's fun and exciting from what we're showing you here, if you've got some great off-the-wall examples of how you've implemented these.
Yeah.
We love to hear about those stories. We even sometimes can showcase those things off.
Yeah.
So don't hesitate. Just let us know what you think and how creative you're being with Power BI.
Hey, thanks a lot. We appreciate you joining us. We'll see you next month.
Take care.